guys? Asher coming at you today in Raid Shadow Legends. I am not alone. I'm joined by Scratch. Scratch, what's up, bro? How you doing?
Yo, what's up, man? It's been a while. Doing great. Looking forward to
it. Has, man. It has. Yeah, dude. We're going to do a collab on your channel too, folks. You already know Scratch's YouTube channel. You know what he's about. Check him out. Hey, man, today we're going to do the worst thing you can do on YouTube and talk smack about a whole lot of legendaries that people are going to be very offended by, right?
It's going to be legend. Wait for it. And I hope you're not lactose intolerant because the second half of that word is dairy. No. Legendary.
But we're doing it for a reason, man. We're doing it for a reason. Even if you love these champions that we talk smack about, we know that Plarium finally is starting to balance, you know, in a big way. We saw Siegfried, right? Like go from the worst mythical to... It's hard to say he's the best, but he's definitely one of the hardest hitting. That's for dang sure, you know. Little Miss Annie, and you know, the list goes on. And at first, I kind of had a problem, Scratch, with them coming through with only 3 champions a month. I'm like, dude. But you know what? The truth is, glass half full. It's going to add up, man. We're going to be looking at 40, hopefully, champions at the end of the year that are going to be a lot better than they used to be. So we want to give them more ideas on who to buff, right, in today's video.
100%.
I work so hard for you, and all you do is yell at me and tell me I'm not good enough.
I guess now that I mentioned him, I got to ask, though, are you using the new Siegfried? Are you using him?
I would love to, but I only have 2 mythicals. I have the Fusion and I got Arbais. That's the only one that I summoned. So
Ooh, okay.
I'm not very lucky with the drop rates on the mythical so far. The first mythical that I summoned took me like almost 140 shards, and now I'm already building up again, you know. So it just doesn't seem to be on my side, at least not the very first few drops, you know.
Well, I'm sure honestly it's probably 2 more than the majority of people out there that have, you know, mythicals.
Yeah, 100%.
It's crazy power creep, and it's also crazy hard to get them, which sucks. And if you're anything like me, which I'm sure you're even worse than me, meaning that you're higher than me in Live Arena probably. What are you at right now? I'm like 4,100. What are you?
I'm almost to 4.8 actually.
Okay, so you must feel it a billion times. If I feel it, then you must feel it, because whenever I dabble in a little Live Arena lately, I've been going against like a lot more all mythical teams. And I'm like, oh, this is happening, huh? This is happening, you know?
They're everywhere.
Anyway, I digress. Arbius, I wanted to ask you though, selfishly. I don't have her. Do you like her or love her?
I like her. I don't.
Okay.
I'm not crazy after her, but I do like her. So I am using her in Live Arena quite a bit, actually. Yeah.
She's annoying with that taunt. Anyway, here we go, man. It's legendaries only. Legendaries only. We don't want them to buff the mythicals. They're already good enough. They're already good
I know,
enough.
right? Like, you know? Yo, take it easy.
And if we went, and honestly, if we went and did epics and rares and stuff, we'd be here all day because there's a billion of them. So we're just going to pick, we're going to take turns, faction, pick one, and we're going to go from there. So you're the guest, man. You go first. Who's the worst Bannerlord? Who's the Bannerlord that you want to see buffed the most?
Minaya. I want to see Minaya buffed the most. I feel like even though for some people she might not be the worst, I just think that needing so many books in general, like she needs like 16 plus books, and then having everything conditional, just not being strong enough on her own as a legendary without Coronar, you know, I feel like she's just not good enough in my opinion. You have heal reduction on a skill, right? Then you have a bit of a heal, block debuffs, increase defense, but again, things become conditional in her skill, you know, and I feel like the best thing on her kit is the speed aura, you know, 19% speed aura.
I am in 100% agreement, man. I don't. I mean, the best thing about her kit is either speed aura or her base stats. You know, like she's got a decent speed, 111 speed, but who cares, right? Like base stats aren't everything, right?
If you ever disrespect my wife again, I will end you.
I guess I would just say as a shout out as to other candidates too, I would pick Minaya first as well. I think that even like Richtof, who I'm sure a lot of people would say, I think he at least he has a use. Poison, speed farming, combust teams, you know? I would like to see a buff to Helior. I don't think he's the worst, but I would love to see that shield that just do a little bit more damage, you know?
100%.
Or Quintus for the few people who have him out there. Come on, man. Okay. High Elf time. Did you get your hands on Fina, by the way?
I haven't, bro. I don't purchase any Prism shards ever, you know. So I got a couple of free summons.
Dude, a crazy thing happened to me, bro. A crazy thing happened to me.
You got her?
And I think I mentioned this in the video. I don't know if I did. I think I did. Dude, she was in my inbox, bro. I've never bought a Prism shard in my life. I don't know how I got her.
Oh, you know how you got her?
How?
Basically, you completed an event or a tournament, and
I didn't realize it.
You haven't realized, you haven't
Okay.
collected that, and when it ended, the event, you summoned her.
Okay, man.
Crazy luck.
Mystery solved.
I mean, that's
Crazy
honestly
luck.
that's what I figured, because what else could have it been? But I didn't.
Yeah.
Whatever, lame excuse. But I was traveling, bro. I didn't realize there was a champion event going on. I just did my thing, and then I'm like, what the heck is this?
That's how you got her.
That's how I got her. Okay, I'm up here. I'm gonna go High Elves. So since I have her, I've done a lot of deep diving in High Elves because I was trying to make the best possible High Elf team around her, right? And
yep.
I ended up with Supreme Elhain, Fina, and Arbiter. And I actually I don't think she's the best, but I went with Pixneal because with Fina, you want as many buffs as possible to ignore defense, and Pixneal has the continuous heal in the whatever. I digress. I would go with
It's hard.
Crazy.
It's hard.
I'm crazy for not going Pixneal, I know. But I would actually go with Rowanus, and I'm sure a lot of people like him. And I know they buffed him as well. I just don't love the buff to him, right? He's got a stun on an AoE on a 4-turn cooldown, and he's got like a decently hard hitting A2. I mean, I don't know. I don't get excited about that anymore, man. I would love to see. I don't know they do this because they haven't done this in the past, but I would love to see an interesting passive, or he just feels very very epic-ish to me. Very epic.
Yep. Yeah, he should ignore Stone Skin or something with that A2.
Exactly, right? Who do you give it to on High Elves?
On High Elves, I'm going with Pixneal, honestly, just because even though they buffed her, I still just don't think that she's enough. I feel like they buffed her in such a way that instead of actually buffing her to work on the Fire Knight, they nerfed her for the Fire Knight, that she's not good in that anymore.
Yeah, look at all these disgusting books, too.
But
the thing
exactly,
is, I
that's
always
another
say
thing.
she's a lot better than people give her credit for now, I think. With the increased defense, the continuous heal, the AoE freeze 100%, all this other stuff. But she still does not come close to justifying these stupid books, man. Like, even if she's halfway decent, so I agree with you. All right, you're up. Sacred Order.
Sacred Order. So right here, there are quite a few on the list, but I think pick as the worst out of them will probably have to be actually. I was leaning towards Glishere, but I'm gonna go for Vitreous, man. He's a Void legendary. I just forgot about him, honestly, and his damage is just so underwhelming, and he's a brand new Void legendary added in 2024 or the end of 2023, if I'm not mistaken. You would expect to see a champion that's at least half decent. Well, this one is not even that. Even though on paper he seems very interesting. He ignores a lot of things. He can ignore this. He can ignore that and get a lot of things done. He's just not strong enough. He has a very high base attack, but unfortunately, he feels extremely, extremely underwhelming. I feel like him and Fatalis, probably the worst Void legendaries added to the game since the release, because
even over Jingwan.
Even over Jingwan, at least that one counters Skymar, and he has different things.
At least he's HP based and you can keep him alive and do some stuff, I don't know. But yeah.
Clan Bostan, or you find some niche uses for them. But these two, they're literally clearly just dilution of the champions,
Yeah. I would agree with you on that one too, man. I would agree with you. And I would also pick Glishere as my second because I think she has a lot of potential. It's not that she's maybe the worst. Same thing with High Elves too, by the way. Like, I don't think Rowanus is the worst. I think that, like, Alexander maybe is, but but sometimes it's like, who's one good buff away from being like pretty viable? Anyway, I agree. Good call out. Barbarian time. Barbarian, for me, it's an easy one, honestly, dude, and that is good old the red beast himself, Altan. I mentioned him before. I feel like he's an easy champion to fix, right? He's a champ that used to be very good, and now he's just like he's the definition of power creep to me, right?
Yeah, 100%. Yep.
So many ways you could fix this dude. What does he even do? I mean, he's got a decreased attack on the A1, an epic-like skill. He's got an AoE increased defense.
That's it.
A revive every time he kills somebody, Man, I mean, there's so many different directions they could go. They could buff his multipliers a little bit, make this an AoE and Wall of Flame, and he has like at least a little bit of versatility for progression, beyond what he has right now. They could go, Fiery Rebirth. It could be a conditional revive every time an enemy dies or something with a cooldown or whatever, and instead of him killing an enemy. Or they could go more outside the box and just, rework him significantly. What does this guy want to be? Old school, he used to be an increased defense clan boss champion who has an essential debuff. But now that's really unnecessary, you know? So
I mean, bro,
Yeah.
like unkillable teams are everywhere.
Yeah.
If you're asking players nowadays, they have no idea that any other team except unkillable exists.
right?
Yep.
And he used to be like, am I right, man? Like when I started playing, he was the GOAT. Like you're like, oh yeah, you got a clan boss cheat code right
Yep.
there, you know, but not anymore,
Yep.
man. Who would you give it to in the barbs?
In the barbs, probably I would give it more to Rorik personally, just because I feel like he's so niche and he's just so conditional, even with the Terminator manipulation and the stun that lands. It's just not enough, in my opinion, for a
Yeah.
legendary.
Yeah, I kind of put Raf Matab in there too, you know?
Yeah, he's
Raf
not that great
Matab,
either, dude.
man. I mean, Raf Matab, I don't know. Increased
I'm glad I
resistance and
haven't
reflect
summoned him.
damage. Yeah, again, like you can get utility out of him in some areas, but not enough, in my opinion. Anyway, Orgrin time, you're up, dude. Oh, I feel like you're
Orgrin.
getting some easy ones. I feel like you're getting the easy factions, man.
Yeah, I'm gonna go straight for Drogal in here. Like,
Oh,
no
dude, you're such a
questions
hater,
asked.
man.
I am actually, yeah, and it's just because I'm constantly keep summoning that dude, and I cannot do nothing with him. Like even for the Cursed City, I struggle to find one stage where I could use him.
Well, I
one
just used him
stage.
yesterday in Curse City, so eat that
Have you?
and Soul Cross.
I haven't
Yeah.
even used him this rotation, only last rotation.
Okay. It was, I put him in a bolster set and with his, like, honestly, he was good. Like, for the first time in my life, I was like, wow, he was pretty solid there, you know? So I don't think he's an amazing champion, but I'll be real with you, man. This is kind of awkward now, Scratch.
That's all. Bring it on.
But I was actually going to record a video, talking about how I think he's underrated or gets too much hate. I'm not saying he's the best, but I'm saying this. He's got an increased attack, increased defense on a 3-turn cooldown. He's got this shield thing, which like I heard it didn't work. And then it worked great for me. He was healing everybody, shielding everybody all the time. But, he's got, like, I'll push you over here. He's got a 23k base HP and 107 speed. So, like, again, I am not saying he's the best. And I think a lot of people would agree with you, but he wouldn't be my choice. I would give it to Gurgo, dude. I hate Gurgo the Augur, man.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of that either, and I've been summoning Gurgo nonstop.
Right? I feel the same, dude. I don't know what it is, but like back when I started, if I pulled the Gurgo, I'd be like, yeah. And now I'm like, no, not this dude.
I've always been like, no more, please.
That's not gonna happen.
This is gonna be sacrilege, bro. But I'd rather pull a virtuous or whatever the hell his name is, the other guy.
I would rather just go to the Mercy and just wait for the next NX.
Dude, anyway, okay, so yeah, Gurgo, dude, I hate Gurgo. He does no damage and he's got a freeze.
Yeah, he's so power creeped. He's unbelievable, actually.
He used to be the GOAT. I'm so mad. All right. Once again, I feel like I got a tough one here, man. In Lizard Men, I feel like my longtime viewers are gonna know my answer here, and well, listen, I think the worst, objectively, if there was like the last champion I want to get out of all these dudes, the Lizard Men, would be Roxam. But the one that I want to see the buff to the most, mainly because he's accessible to everybody, is Roshan. And I feel like Roshan, more so than almost any champion in this game, is like, it's so obvious what you need to do to this guy, right? It's so obvious.
It's super easy. Like, just decrease cooldowns, increase the speed, give him a bit of more defense. That's it.
That's
You don't
it.
need to do nothing else.
It's
a
like
6-turn cooldown on the A3.
A 7-turn unbooked. A 7-turn. You know what? Back in 2018, 2019, that was good. It's not good anymore. And he's 91 speed, man. They went in there and they adjusted speed on Solus and a bunch of other legendaries. Get in there and bump it up to 97 speed. Nothing crazy.
100. Give him 107 and a 4-turn cooldown on the A3, bro.
Yeah. Honestly, dude, like, it wouldn't even make him one of the best legendaries if they did that.
No, not at all. Not even close.
So yeah, dude. I mean, okay, Roshan. Who would you go with in the Lizard Man?
I would go with Roshan, actually. Thinking about it is spot on, because he's a champion that people aspire to get, and just getting him and being like, oh my god, 7-turn cooldown. Like, why didn't I look like this before I went to go to make
here's
the
the
fusion,
crazy thing, bro, is like, he's still not bad, I don't think. Like,
no, but
I still recommend players fuse him because he's got a triple hitter. He's great for Fire Knight. He's a great debuffer on bosses. But the rest of his
think about Armans. Think about Armans.
Yeah, well, yeah.
And Razin's A3, okay? Just think about like that, and you're gonna be like, yeah, it's not happening.
Exactly. Say no more. Say no more. I just want him to, like, again, I don't think he's the worst. I just think he could be a lot better. Skinwalker time. Who you got, man?
Skinwalker. So here as well, I have quite a quite a few on my
I
list.
know,
but
right? There's some bad ones in here, some duds.
They are, and actually gonna go with Hakan Smash Lord, bro. Like,
I agree.
I was initially gonna go for Loriaka, but you know what? Loriaka, she's a newish champion. Hakan has been in here since forever, and he's still doing nothing. Okay, like they are epic champions in the game. Pretty much every epic cleanser in the game is better than him. He has a
Bro, give me
4-turn
Mausoleum
cooldown
Mage
cleanse.
every day, all day over this dude.
Oh,
you know,
100%. And then you have this odd A4 sacrificing himself, dealing no damage and
it does
doing
no
nothing.
damage.
It does nothing with that skill, so it's so weird. You know, like a low chance of stunning. He has very good base stats, but that cleanse needs to go on a 3-turn cooldown.
Yes.
Needs to put a bigger heal, and that A3 needs to be completely reworked. Like it's just so dumb, you know.
I am 1000% in agreement. I mean, I would have said basically the same thing. I would have probably put Loriaka and then Hakorn or Hakorn Loriaka. I agree with you, and I don't have much to add. If you had to choose a third, just out of curiosity, who would you go with?
From here, War Chief.
Oh, War Chief. See, I'm okay with War Chief. Not that I wouldn't take a buff, but I still think he's the best single target provoker in the game. And if like, as long as you can excel in one area, I guess I'm okay with it. But like, I'm not a big fan of Bambus, man. Bambus and maybe Norog. Like, I think they can both have utility. Don't get me wrong. I wouldn't put them in the same category, but those are two shout outs, I guess. Do you like Bambus at all? Or I didn't go for him.
No,
so I don't have him.
I got him, but I haven't used him, you know.
Okay.
Like,
all right. Orc time, right? We are on orcs, right? Okay.
Yep. What do we have?
So, orcs, they already did Angar, and I think they nailed that one, man. Like, to their credit, like, Angar's, he has a great use case now. He's a 2-turn provoker, you know? Like, that's a lot better than he was, right?
It is true, yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, I feel like the obvious, again, you know what? They've already touched on Growhawk so many times, but they with all due respect, I don't mean my words to be as cutting as they may sound, but they dropped the ball and they really blew it. Man, this guy still sucks so bad, right? Talk about, we've said this so many times, but like his kit feels like freaking Shield Guard, who's an uncommon, bro. He's getting turn meter fill, and he has one good ability, reduce target's turn meter, which like Skimfos the Consumed or Coltart has, man, or a Soulbound Bowyer, you know?
Or
sure.
Stitch Beast, you know, the rare champion.
People always like when I talk smack about Growhawk or something like that. People are like, "Dude, Ash, but he can steal a whole turn meter," and it's like, so can freaking Maneater, dude. Like,
even Stitch
he's a legendary.
Beast is a rare, and she does the same.
So I would give it to Growhawk, man. I don't care who you are, man. I don't care how delusional you are, but you do not want to see that legendary being pulled out of that shard and Growhawk the Bloodied comes out. No way, man.
I feel it though. Like, I am using him a bit in the Cursed City here and there, but he can definitely have a bit of an improvement, either on the damage, either something.
They force our hand scratch. They're like, this dungeon is Magic Affinity Legendary Orcs attack based whose name starts with G, and you're like, okay, I guess I use Growhawk, huh?
One option, yeah, because everybody has him. You know, everybody summons a Growhawk every now and then.
Yeah, who would you give it to? Somebody else here? King Garage?
I'm not sure, actually. I'm not a big fan of Danig either, or even Jag, which are kind of like more newish additions.
Man. I was so let down by him.
Yeah, me too. Exactly. So I tried them. I'm really not a big fan of those either. Now, I can tell you one that's really solid, and it's just getting more solid and solid, is Val the Destroyer, you know? So yeah, he's
agree.
A good one.
I completely agree with Varl the Destroyer. I have no idea why he gets reviews like 2s in ratings. Like it's bonkers. I really love Varl as well. So, but I agree. Overall, I'm kind of underwhelmed by Orcs. Like, obviously they have some of the goats, right? They got like an Artak and a Warlord and some really good champions here, but they also have a lot of duds, I feel like, you know? Like Gomlock and King Garage, and even Robar could use a buff, I feel like, you know?
100%.
Anyway.
Don't be conditional anymore, you know? And,
Exactly. All right, it's Demon Spawn time. Who's up? Is it me or you? I forgot.
It's me on Demon Spawns here, and honestly, it's quite a bit of a tough decision here.
Yeah, they're all a lot better, right?
They are a lot better, yeah. And I feel like I only have kind of like have a couple of them, right? I have Initwi, which I'm never happy with him though. But I feel like Vessel is a Doom Tower champion, man. By the time you get these champions, they become so irrelevant that you just feel disappointed to even go and get his champion from the Doom Tower, you know? And I feel like they should try to either do something on him to be a bit more useful. Like, yes, he can balance the HP, he can put through fear and decrease attack, but is that really enough for this champion? I just feel like he's just not bringing in enough. He looks amazing. Like, I would love to see this champion be more powerful, but unfortunately, it's just not much that you can do with him except Cursed City, right?
Yeah, it's weird. Just like you were with, who did I mention? Grohawk. Like, you were like, well, I've been using him a lot or whatever. I feel the same about Vassal right now. Like, well, Scratch, I've been actually using him a decent amount in Cursed City. And that heal is clutch with the extra turn,
Yeah.
However, to your point, and plus, given the crop of heroes here, like the only other one that I would even shout out, because everybody's so good, is like Countess Lix, not because she's bad, but because with a small buff, she could be like really cool meta champion that's unique, like I would bring time dilation down 1 turn,
Yeah, exactly. I was literally gonna say 1 turn cooldown on each one of the skills down, and she's done. She's sorted. She doesn't
a
need
3
nothing
turn
else.
I agree. Like, she's the one who's not even bad, but those cooldowns, to your point,
not awful. Same like Resin,
Yep. Undead Horde. I think I got an easy one, and there's a couple here though that are pretty terrible.
Let's see.
My 3 that I don't like just looking at. Actually, I have 4. Ready? I'll rapid fire them, and you can pick one of the 4. We'll do a little curveball to the viewers here. Nethril, I love, but 93 speed. Give me a break, man. He's a speed buff. He needs an aura or a speed buff or a passive or something. He's really cool, really good. So I don't think he's the worst, but I hate the legacy speeds that they don't address. Martyr is another one. Like, these are the champions that were in the game upon release that is just like, come on, man. My other ones are Suzerain Katon, Skartorsis, but my real answer, I think, if I had to choose, is Saito. A lot of people love Saito. I do not. I'm not one of those people.
He just
I can feel the people getting offended through the screen right now. Who would your choice be, man?
I mean, like, I'll be very honest with you. There are quite a few. I'm not a big fan of Eligius. I think.
Oh yeah, I missed him. There's a lot of bad undead hordes, huh?
there are a lot of them. I feel like
Eligius.
Jack could get a bit of love too. Blood Gorged as well. I feel like he can do some things, but just not enough for today's meta. And Saito, how you mentioned, like Saito, he really got power crap to like the moon and back. It's just. He's so ineffective for Arena unless you are in a low tier where pretty much every nuker is effective there. You know the drill. Kale is going to be great there where Saito is. For Clan Boss, he can deal some damage. But other than that, not good for Hydra. Not that amazing. Even for Faction Wars, you have other champions that can deal good damage, and he's not a necessity. He's not like special in Faction Wars either. So it's pretty hard to find a good place where you can say Saito dominates this place. He is the GOAT here. I don't think we have that.
He looks so cool. Maybe it's the looks that people get.
Yeah, I think so.
Or if you pull him, to your point, like you pull almost any legend, even Eligius, dude, who I think is probably objectively the worst. Like you pull him in the early game, it's like, they can make a difference on your account for sure. But like, who is actually recommending someone to throw books into Saito? Like that's how you should be investing.
Yeah.
It's a shame because he's one of the coolest looking, I think, champs out there in the game. And he was based on a real life like content.
Yeah, I was going to say, actually,
anyway, so we agree on Saito or Eligius?
Absolutely, I agree on that, yeah. All
right. Dark Elf time. You can lead things off.
Yeah, so I'm going to go with the Dark Elves with Queen Eva, bro. Like, I feel like she's just such an amazing looking character. She's been in the game since forever, and the only thing that she can do in 2024 is a brutal campaign. And let me just tell you, not many people farm that. And let me just tell you, she's not even the best because you have Felhound, the rare champion that can do it better, faster animations. Yeah. So I would love to see a buff.
She looks cool too.
Like I said, I don't think so.
Absolutely. She needs some better multipliers to actually deal damage. She needs to start ignoring maybe some defense. She needs to add some different things in her kit. And she definitely needs the cooldowns decreased as well.
To your point, man, I think just jacking up the multiplier a bit on Ancient Curse would be enough because a 2-time hitter that ignores revive, like you can get around UDK with that. And like there's some use cases, and You know, I'm not gonna lie. I agree with you 100% on Queen Ava, but I was doing a Cursed City random floor at some point, and
I used that as well.
all of a sudden, no, like she was against me, and all of a sudden she killed somebody. I'm like, wait, I forgot she blocks revive, and she ruined my run. And I was like, okay, fine. There's a little begrudging respect for her. Who would I give it to, man? I think I would. I mean, it's weird because we can pick on Doom Towers here till we're blue in the face because they're so bad. I'd probably give it to Chromax Moonblood. I absolutely think he's one of the worst, second worst legendary in the game, I would say. He's got a 4-turn provoke, and that's all he's got. 4-turn provoke from like one of the last champions you get in this game. Is ridiculous. All right, Knights Revenant time, man.
Let's see.
Are you? This is me, right?
Yep.
Okay, so they already touched Fortis. What do you think of the Fortis buff? Were you cool with that, or?
I think they increased the damage a lot from what I've seen. I don't personally own the champion.
Okay.
Hopefully, I'll never pull him. But at the same, you see, I'm still feeling like this about him. The thing is, he deals a lot of damage, but can he really bring you any value except that damage? You know?
Yeah, I want to see them do something with fear eventually. You know, just make it more viable.
100,000.
You know, because you look at the worst champions, and I feel like a lot of them are fear-based, like Masked Fearmonger as an epic, kind of underwhelming Noble as a legendary. Like, you know, it can go on and on. Anyway, I digress. I think the worst here, or the one that I want to see a buff to the most, is going to be Bystofus, man. I mean, one of the highest non-mythical attacks in the entire game, almost 1,800 base attack. And the dude hits like the proverbial wet noodle, bro. Like, I mean, I don't know what to say about him, right? He's got an AoE block active skills. He's got another AoE block active skills. Like, in a 4-turn cooldown, and for a dude who has that much attack, he doesn't hit hard. So he'd be my choice. What about you?
I'm actually gonna go to Tia. I feel like the Doomtower champions are really bad. So I know we've talked about quite a few of them. Biceptus at least gives me some control in the Cursed City, and it's very, very powerful. Tia on the other side, Tia on the other side, she just doesn't bring nothing, man. Like, even her damage without the hex setup is just so underwhelming, you know.
Yeah, I like the idea of what they're trying to do with her buff. Like, I like this. I think her kit has a lot of good synergy. The A1 to the extra turn on the Not of This World to, like, I think there's a lot there. But to your point, I agree. I think she's very underwhelming. There's a lot of Thea fans out there, too. A lot of people who use her as a nuker, but I'm with you. I would love to see a buff on her as well. You know, I think there's a lot there. Just up it a little bit or lower the threshold of, like, how many hexes do you need to get that full damage, you know? All right, dwarf time, man. Who you got?
It is. I'm going to go for a... 4 Nary the Lucky.
Nary the Lucky, okay. I think that's YST's dude. I think he loves this dude.
Yeah, like he has as well a 4-turn provoke, right? And decrease accuracy, decrease resistance. I feel like he could do more. Like, I'm not saying he's the worst necessarily from this faction. I just feel like he could potentially have some better use. Even for the Hydra, it's just not enough. Maybe decrease that provoke from 4 turns. Put it to 2 turns and take out the counter attack. At least you have a provoker for Hydra that gives you decreased accuracy, decreased resistance. Maybe put a HP burn on the A1 or put a block buffs on the A1, you know, and at least let us use this champion somewhere. Because like this, what are you going to do with him? Yes, Cursed City, maybe for the provoke, and maybe Infection Wars for provoke. But are you going to use him anywhere else, you know?
Hell to the no, I think, you know. No, I think you could use him in Hydra, right? Like progression Hydra. He could be a provoker. He could be a decreased attacker. Decreased accuracy, resistance, not as appealing. I would agree, but I agree with you. I think this is a great choice because he's one, again, like kind of like Raz and some of the other champions that we mentioned. He's a perfect champion to buff because he's so close, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
I agree with you. What I would do is bring this down to a 3-turn cooldown, the A3. And I would just, on the Joyful Song, it's a little thing, but what I love most about Mighty Uko is that he steals those buffs, but they're protected. I want to add the protected buff to the Joyful Song as well, you know? Okay, I would give it to Beauregard. For all the same reasons, really, right? Is like he's not awful, but again, I mean, he's got to increase speed on the 4-turn cooldown. Like, what are we talking about here? You know, like, what are we running? An epic? Is this an epic?
High-Katun.
You know? Yeah, is this a High-Katun? Yeah, it just, again, needs a little buff there. Okay, Shadowkin time.
What do you have?
Well, I think the guys who always get punished in these are going to be Jingwang and Noble.
Yes,
It's funny, man. I don't hate either of these champions, Jingwan and Noble, but I think they both suck. Does that make sense to you at all?
100%.
I would actually not pick either of them, though, because we've talked about them, I feel like, for a billion years. Just really quickly, too, I'll say that I think the worst dwarf by far, the worst legendary in the entire game is Granjar. I think that. So shout out Granjar. All right, back to Shadowkin. I would actually give it to Gamoran. Why Gamoran? Because I think Gamoran is one of the most compelling, unusual, unorthodox, but very cool champions out there. He's just not quite there yet. And that's the type of champion that I'd be excited if they were like all of a sudden viable, right? He's got a buff spread, which is a very unique thing. He's stealing and then spreading. And then this dread invocation.
It's weird.
They need to up it. They up this ability somehow so it's more in line with like a Valkanen type ability, you know, where if he's gonna pull this off, it's gonna be dramatic. You know, it's gonna unlock a secret skill where he does something amazing or whatever it is. I don't have the perfect solution. Obviously, I would have to sit here for an hour and brainstorm and think about, but Gamoran's very unique, very cool. I think that he needs a buff.
100%, man. Like even the A2 is very underwhelming, you know, like especially in the current meta. It's just, I know not everybody needs to be a champion for PvP, but even for PvE, it's just very, very underwhelming, you know.
I mean, Thief of Blood, like, attacks all enemies, 100% chance of stealing one random buff from each enemy. This cannot be resisted, something like that. So you can just steal stone skins, you know, like, I don't know. I mean, I don't think that's even enough, you know, but like, at least, yeah, there's just, to your point, there's just something missing there. Who would you give it to?
From the Shadowkin, I would probably go with Noble personally. Just he doesn't do enough, you know. But how you mentioned, we talked about those quite a bit, so I'm gonna stick with Gamoran as well, actually. Cool.
Yeah, Noble too is like, dude, you can talk yourself into this guy, and then you're like, then you run him, and you're like, okay, he feels very epic-y, you know. Okay, Sylvan Watcher's time, man, home stretch.
Sylvan Watchers, there's just one that is literally an uncommon champion. I don't know why she's here as a legendary, honestly. I feel like whoever designed this didn't thought about it, but Lady Irette, man, she's just so awful. I just cannot imagine this champion as a legendary, you know, like no matter how I'm looking at her, strength and continuous heal on a 3-turn cooldown, yeah, it's nice. But everything else is just weird, you know, like remove debuffs from a target ally, continuous heal on the A1, and that's it. Forget about everything else. You know, it's just very, very underwhelming for a legendary champion.
100% agree. She is an epic, but she looks cool. But she is an epic, man. That's an epic kit. You know what you need to do is you need to give her, even with this ability, I don't think that she would still be that good. But you need to add to the Mistwood healing to the A2. You need to add what the Fina, the High Elf faction lord, or what White Dryad Naya has. Reset all the cooldowns as well. If you're going to have a legendary with a 3-turn cooldown in 2024 in the game that has a single target buffing ability, it's gonna be a lot more than a heal in a cleanse, man. Like that's 100%. 2019 territory. You need to reset all their cooldowns or something on that, you know.
Yep.
And even then, would you use her if she reset all cooldowns? You might just go, and I'll still take White Dryad Naya. Thank you.
Yeah, much, you know? I would probably still take White Dryad Naya. Yeah. Like she does the crispy AoE with the A1, you know. So there we go.
Right. Anyway, yeah, that's a really good call out. It's a no brainer. Scracked, thank you so much for joining me, man. Let's go record on your channel. What do you say?
Yeah, absolutely, man.
All right, guys, that's going to do it. Thank you for watching. Let us know who we were wrong about in the comments below and who you would choose instead. Much love, and as always, take care, guys.